que ella iba, ¿no? Es decir, no hacer cosas estándar, ponerse, ¿no? En cambio aquí es diferente. Entonces ahí, ¿qué van a hacer? Estándar, moderno, con ascensor, etcétera, etcétera, ¿no? Bueno, eso.
Hi, this is so unorthodox. I wouldn't normally just start recording myself, but I was thinking something and it was so brilliant and helpful to me. I imagine it would be helpful to me in the future, so I'm gonna record myself saying it so that I have it for later use. So, what I'm learning about film music is that it is functional music. And the way that we write film music is with function in mind for everything. So for example, if you're just writing music for yourself, you're trying to express a feeling, you're not necessarily gonna be thinking too much about the techniques, because music that's for listening or singing, well, not that film music isn't either of those, but music that's for just listening or for recreational purposes, you know what I mean, right? Like that kind of pop music or whatever kind of music that people listen to is like for you. Like it's so like you don't have to think about why this chord is better than that chord, or why these chords just speak to you or allow you to write whatever music you're writing. You're not really thinking about what you're doing, you just kind of do it. Or at least I do. Maybe some other people are thinking about those kinds of things, and that's fine, but I'm not thinking about those. If I'm writing a song that's just like, I just want it to be fun and catchy and stuff, I'm not thinking about that. I'm just like fiddling around and finding something that works. And I still do that with film music, but I'm thinking a lot more about the piece. Like before I even start to write the piece, I have some ideas already for not necessarily melody or even harmony or anything like this, but I have some ideas for what I want the music to be. Like for example, right now I am gonna write a theme for a character who is he has two personalities, and one of them is like, it's like the classic Jekyll and Hyde situation where one of them is good and one of them is bad, but in this situation it's a little bit more gray. So I'm thinking a lot about these personalities and how to like communicate what they're feeling, and I'm sitting here like looking for rhythms. I try to be a little bit more pragmatic when it's about film music, or I get a little bit overwhelmed. So we were talking about Jaws, and I was trying to like think about how do I make Jaws but make it unpredictable, because Jaws is predictable, you know what's gonna happen, but I want for this music to be a little bit less predictable. So I'm thinking about how can I do that. So I'm trying to write music that's like harmonically lets the viewer know this is a safe person. We are here. We are harmoniously in tune here. But then I want to set it a little bit off kilter by incorporating some dissonance and some off notes and doing a little bit of this and that to like not make it horror music or anything like this, but to just have moments where you're like, wait, what was that? But then this next passage sounds really beautiful, but then something's really off here. So, well, what happens every time I try to write film music is I watch the rough cut without music. Sometimes people do put like temporary music, but so far I haven't encountered this. Maybe I'm not. I mean, it's student films, but you know what I'm saying. Like, I watch the film or the first cut of the film or whatever, and I just have thoughts. I just think, like, my initial impressions. And I'm always like, I get this very clear idea of, okay, this is the kind of music I think would fit. For example, for this film, I was just initially thinking guitars. I don't even have a guitar, but I would acquire a guitar to make music for this film. I think I will have to have a guitar at some point. But then I knew that probably he's not gonna say guitars, or he's not even maybe gonna know what instruments to use. So then I kind of broadened it, and I when I was speaking to him, I said, you know what, I'm thinking about stringed instruments. And I think that says nothing to him, apart from the fact that I'm thinking about violins. And then I asked him, do you have some kind of like references? And he gave me references that were orchestral or vague, which is nice. Vagueness is always nice when you're writing music, because even though it's nice to be in a box, you want to kind of, because the box is going to get smaller and smaller. So it's nice to start off, for me at least, with a not just a free-for-all, but like a pretty wide box is pretty good for me. So he was singing something, and I thought about Jaws immediately, and I was telling him, like, you know what, this reminds me of Hereditary, because Hereditary's composer was inspired by Jaws. Well, a lot of music is. And then I thought about Dies Irae, and I'm gonna put Dies Irae in the music, and I probably will do that at some point, but it's hard to, these kinds of things, it's really hard to be too intentional about it. But there are things that I'm very intentional about. Like, for example, if I want to write something that's like intense, I'm not gonna choose like an electric piano, you know what I'm saying? So there's just things that I'm thinking about, and I'm thinking a lot about what's easiest for me to, like, which key is easiest for me to write in, and if I'm gonna sing, like, you know, there's just a lot that I'm thinking about. And now I after I told him that, it's not like I was completely off, but now I'm having to like take these references that he told me about and like make it my own. A lot of the times they don't want me to have an opinion at all, and I have a big problem with that, because when I'm writing music I want to have an opinion, but now my opinion is that I don't want to have an opinion. So that's also another thing, you know, that I'm gonna be thinking about very functionally how to do this. And what my point is that film music is functional music, and yes, you can enjoy it outside of the film, but it's made for the film. It's not for you. If you're ever a composer and you feel bad that they didn't like your music, get over it, because it's not for you. You can keep that music and you can love it, and people who hear it might actually really love it, but if it's not good for the film, it doesn't matter. Film music it's about feeling, and it's absolutely about like being evocative and evoking feelings and people and reactions, and taking them to places they've not been before, or places that they have been before but don't want to go back to, or places they have been before and want to go back to. But like, it's all about function. Like, before we even start to go to those places, we have to have our ticket. We had spoke for like an hour and 30 minutes, and he probably thought I'm like, I can do this just now, but I need to think, and I need to try and like fail before I even get to a point where I'm comfortable saying I know what this music is. I just completed a short film where from the start to the end I felt like I have no idea what the music is about. Like, I understand the music because I wrote it, but I don't really know the music. I felt like I was not a part of it, like it was not me. And I'm not, like I said, the music is not for me, but I have to feel like I really understand this music. You make something that you're like, I don't really love this, then you give it to the director, and the director's like, that's the best thing you've written so far, this is perfect for my film. And then you're completely thrown off kilter, because does that mean that you have to now do that, like do the same thing from now on, or can you continue as you were? So yeah, I don't know. These are just the thoughts. I went to Disneyland yesterday with my really good friend that I met here in Paris when I started film school, and she's from Denmark and I'm from Denmark. And we had such a good time. I'm scared. Tower of Terror. And it truly was terrifying. I thought I would die in that elevator. I thought I was going to die. I've never been so scared before. If you imagine, like, my friend, this is her favorite ride. She loves Tower of Terror, right? She's just like having the time of her life, screaming, laughing. For her, this is so fun. I was just like clenching my friend's hand so hard. I thought I was going to die.